in the Catholic School Board, which is, I think, why this is gaining some attention, is because the meeting that was held and where the video was obtained was at the Catholic School Board. But also, I was a PPC candidate in the last federal election, and God willing, I will be a PPC candidate in the next federal election.
Okay, perfect. So how old are your children?
So I have children. I have three children that are school age. So grade 4, grade 8, grade 11. And then I have 3 adult children, the oldest being 21.
Okay, perfect. Walk me through what happened last week. You're the person who filmed the video and who put it on YouTube, on your YouTube channel, right?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
videos that I think there were, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened on that day. You can just walk me through what happened that evening.
Sure. So we were there for a meeting. It was a scheduled meeting of the Niagara Catholic District School Board. There was many parents there. There was probably about 50 parents there. There was people praying the rosary outside. And there was probably about 20 people within the meeting room, and the rest of the people were outside praying the rosary. And so the parents that were there, I think we were expecting to see a vote on whether they would choose on a motion that was made by Natalia Benoit, one of the trustees who was elected by the residents of St. Catharines in her area, to vote on this motion. This motion was there should be no political or ideological flags or non-inclusive flags flown at any of the Niagara Catholic school boards in our region. That there was no vote. It was deferred to June 20th. What happened was the director of education, he made a unilateral decision to fly the flags at every school. None of the principals have an opportunity to say no. None of the parents have an opportunity to say no, except the way I'm saying no as a parent is all my children, my 2 children in grade school, are coming out of the school system as of today. I called them in sick today, but tomorrow we'll be going in to meet with the principal and say, you know what, we're out. My son in grade 11, unfortunately, becomes a little bit harder to pull him out because he's invested a lot of time. He's an athlete. I don't want to mess up his whole opportunity for an education. But at the same time, I never asked for this and to be pushed this ideology and this woke madness that is coming upon us. And I didn't ask for this, so the only option we have is to pull our children out, or at least my one son, I pulled him out, who's in high school. He's staying home today, but he's going to have to go back, tomorrow.
So going back to one detail
Yeah.
that you said there were parents praying the rosary?
Yes.
What does that mean exactly?
So it's a Catholic school board. So the rosary is a prayer that they were praying outside. They were asking for basically God's intercession to intercede and show wisdom, give wisdom to the trustees who were there, being able to do what's best for protecting the children and also protecting the rights of the parents. And all the trustees that are there, I know 100%. I'm not questioning their intentions. I know 100% that every one of them has the best intentions of the children in mind. My problem is that it doesn't actually, flying that flag doesn't actually help the children. Now, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say I'm a boy in grade 6, Billy, and I believe that, I'm not really good at sports. I'm not really good at, athletics or academics, but I'm feeling left out. But I see a lot of my friends in my class who are getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of congratulations, telling them how courageous they are for coming out as a different gender. Now imagine this. So Billy, who's in grade 6, is starting to think that maybe he's a girl, right? Like he's thinking, maybe I'm a girl. And so he's thinking, okay, how do I know? Then the flag goes up on June 1st. There's a lot of pomp and circumstances. There's a lot of emotions that are running through this boy who, in grade 6, anyone who's that young, on a good day, has a lot of emotions, there's a lot of confusion in their minds. And that's why they go to school, to be educated so that they can straighten these things out. And that's why they have parents as well with judgment who are able to set them on the right track. So now you have this situation where Billy, who believes he may be thinking he's a girl, he's got these ideations that he's a girl, the flag goes up, all this emotion, all these people congratulating themselves on how courageous they are for believing they're another gender. And so Billy says, you know what, I'm another gender. I think I'm a girl. So everyone congratulates him, comes around and hugs him and says, wow, it's so great that you're a girl. So have we helped? Because I know the argument is that the pride flag is being raised to help people, trans kids who believe that they're another gender, or gay kids, whatever that even means, I don't even know, to help these kids feel more welcome. I would argue that by raising the flag, you've created more confusion for this hypothetical boy Billy than you've helped. You haven't helped anything. If you really were interested in helping an individual, you would go to them and you would say, can I help you? You wouldn't raise a flag. Raising a flag helps further an agenda. It doesn't help an individual.
Okay, going back, and I have other
Sure.
questions, but just going back to the fact that you said there were many parents outside praying. Do you remember how many of them approximately there were?
Well, in the video, you can kind of see I was, we were walking around a bit. They're probably around 50. So there were some on the inside. Some were just so outraged after the vote that they just stormed off and they left. So it probably about 50.
So, did Mrs. Benoit contact you guys? How did you know that she was going to introduce the motion?
I can't remember. I don't know how I knew about the meeting. She never contacted me saying, hey, can you come to the meeting? I know she did contact, somebody told me about the meeting. I can't remember who it was, but I know it was going around that we should go to this meeting to show support for Trustee Benoit because she's doing something, to protect the rights of the parents and the rights of the kids. There should be, at a very minimum, in a democratic society, there should be a vote on something as dramatic as raising a flag that shows, really, what does a flag show? It shows that something's been conquered, right? You raise a flag when when the first men landed on the moon, what did they do? They planted the American flag to show dominance over it. So I think the flag has a lot of problematic connotations to it that are not helpful for relieving confusion of children that might be suffering from gender dysphoria.
And I lost my train of thoughts because there were many questions I want to ask you. So the flag had been raised for 2 years already, I believe.
I don't know. I don't know if it was raised. Okay, last year it was raised, but we had pulled our children from the school system due to the COVID hysteria. We pulled them at that time, and we put them back in the system in March after things started to settle down and the mass formation psychosis was wearing off, right? So that it may have been flown 2 years ago. I don't know. I can't remember. But last year, for sure, it was flown.
Okay, so I guess my question was like, why? But I hadn't thought about COVID. Why parents hadn't raised their concern before, if the flag had been shown before? Was it because of COVID and people were not in school?
Well, I'll give you an example of why there might be no outrage from parents as much as you'd think. Actually, there is quite a lot. I was at a store and I met a father who has 4 kids in the same school as my son. I said, hey, how's it going? We were talking, and I told him that the pride flag, or the trans flag, will be raised on June 1st, so today. And he said, I didn't know about that. And he said, and I said, well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm not going to leave my kids home. And he's going to also be leaving his kids home as much as possible. He said he can't necessarily do it because a lot of parents, they rely now on the system to help raise their kids. But now a lot of them, I think, are seeing that this is not what they signed up for. They signed up to have their kids educated and not indoctrinated by this, this woke ideology that is being forced down children's throat. And so I think it's something that we need to look at, because anybody who stands by traditional family values in that school is going to be shunned. Like, why would you, like, as me, who I disagree with raising of the trans flag today, why would I go there and rain on their parade? I'm not going to do that. If they want to do that, that's up to them. Everybody has the right to believe what they want. Individually, you're allowed to believe what you want. But when you use government power to force this ideology down my throat, down my children's throat, that's when I say no, and that's when I bow out. And I think we need to also allow people to believe what they want to believe. If people want to believe that they're a different gender, that's absolutely their right to do so. But it's not the right of government to tell people what they should or shouldn't believe. That's the job of a totalitarian that tells people what to believe and what not to believe. It's not the job of government to tell you what to believe. It's the job of government to protect your rights so that you can believe whatever you want to believe.
I understand. You were giving the example of an hypothetical boy who was confused.
Yeah.
Have you actually seen this happen?
Well, I'll tell you, I grew up in the 80s. Okay, so I went to school, grade school in the 80s. I was, educated in the public school system. And I can't remember a single child that was going through gender transitioning. I didn't know a single one. Now in my son's school, there are a number of children who are transitioning. In my son's high school, there was someone who transitioned a few years ago. I don't remember anything like that a few years ago. I do know children like that now. And is it helpful to them to continue to affirm that to them, to say that they are actually something they're not? I think the best thing to do, if Billy, let's go back to my hypothetical boy, Billy, to say, Billy, you're beautiful just the way you are. You are accepted for being a boy. You don't need to do anything else. You are loved. You are cherished. We want to affirm you in just the way you are. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to pretend that you're something else in order to be loved. We love you. And that's, I think, the best way in order to affirm someone, not to tell them that what they believe is true when it's so obviously not. Because even in his book, 1984, George Orwell stated that if you can get people to believe that 2 + 2 = 5, your government can convince you of anything. And in fact, our government is able to convince people with something as ridiculous as a man can become a woman. And I know that, there are men who act like women. There are men who dress like women. There are men that have operations and take chemicals in order to look more like women. But my question that for you to think about, and for anybody else is to think about, is how can a man become a woman?
I mean, well, this is an interesting question that I'm not sure it's not my place to answer this.
Oh no, I'm not expecting you to answer it. I'm just expecting you to. I just hope you think about it. That's all.
But what about the different sciences advances that we see in our, maybe the evolution of our understanding of gender and health issues, or the science? In the 80s, there are many things that we didn't know that we know now. Understanding of what all kinds of health issues, whether it's depression, for example, and things like that. So, what do you make of those scientific advances and scientists who and doctors who will say gender dysphoria is a real thing, and transgenderism is a real thing?
I would agree that gender dysphoria is a real thing. I would agree with him on that. And over the last 3 years, we were being told to follow the science. And just as an example, on a side note, just because I think this is important, because it shows how people were being told what to believe by scientists and being told what to believe by their government. We were told to follow the science, and just, and I agree with that. You know what? You follow the science. You follow the truth, because science should lead us to truth. We were told to follow the science that, if you, for example, during the pandemic, we were told that, once you get the vaccine, you can't transmit the disease. You can't get COVID. We found this to be wrong. So now let's follow the science with gender transitioning of children. Let's follow the science there. So we know a male and a female, they have different genetics, right? A male has certain qualities, a female has certain qualities. I would ask people, if you are unable to differentiate between a male and a female, how has the education system helped you? If you are now a grown adult and you can't differentiate between a man and a woman, I would say our education system has been a colossal failure. Because that's the most basic thing. I mean, I know what a 2x4 is, and yet I'm not a carpenter. I know what a bridge is, and I'm not a civil engineer. There are certain basic things that we expect people, just from a liberal education, that we expect children and people to know just by virtue of being a part of that. But when we no longer are willing to educate children about the most basic facts, then we no longer have an education system, but we have an indoctrination system.
So moving on to the comments or the comment that Mrs. Benoit made at the beginning of the video that you posted, kind of comparing, saying we wouldn't want any flag or I don't remember exactly the word that she used, but discriminatory flag or something.
Ideological. I think she said ideological.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. Like the Nazis, like we wouldn't want that. What do you make of that comment?
So any political flag, the point was that any political flag, whether it's like for example, if they wanted to fly the Swedish flag at my son's school, guess what? I would be against that also. But that doesn't mean I'm opposed to Swedish people, or I don't value Swedish people, or I don't respect them, or I don't believe they deserve human dignity. I believe every single human being is deserving of dignity, respect, justice, and freedom, regardless of what you believe, or what nationality you are, or where you've come from, what color your skin is. None of those things matter. So now when we start to create this identity politics, it doesn't actually unify us. It actually divides us. What we need to do, I believe, is allow everyone to be free to believe whatever they want. And without forcing anything, or without putting on a flagpole to show what their ideology is. Because that ideology, that flag, is a non-inclusive ideology. It doesn't include everybody. The Canadian flag is 100% all-inclusive. We have a Charter of Rights. We have the Bill of Rights 1960, which outline the rights that every Canadian has. And it's every single Canadian, bar none. And so when you raise a flag beside it that says that this applies to everyone, it doesn't apply to everyone. The Canadian flag applies to everyone. And that's an all-inclusive flag.
Trying to think of it. Other questions. Is there anything else you would like to add about what happened that day? What you would like to see moving forward?
Yeah, what I would like to see is on June 20th at the meeting at the Niagara Catholic District School Board, I would like to see a vote on this issue for flying any ideological or political flags, and I would like to see a vote from the trustees. I would like to see an open vote. I want if people disagree with Miss Benoit, if the trustees disagree with Miss Benoit, they can vote her out at the next election. If the trustees disagree with her motion, they can vote against it. But I want to know who they are. I think that's a right in a democratic society. Who are the ones who want to limit the rights of parents and who are not willing to protect children from this dangerous ideology? I want to know that. I want to know who it is, so that we can vote them out in the next election.
Wouldn't the vote be public during the meeting?
That's what I want. Exactly.
Raising their hands.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I'd like to see. Because at the last meeting we were at, the parents were expecting to see that, and that didn't happen. So at the next meeting, I'm hoping that happens, and that it's not some other procedural antics that take place to delay the vote again. Because I thought that was very disingenuous of the board to say, oh, we can't vote on this today because we don't have enough time to think about it. Okay, fine. I don't want to have to see that again on the next meeting. I hope that they vote on it. I hope they show courage to stand for what they believe in, regardless of what that is. And I will absolutely protect the right of every person to believe what they believe, whatever it be, even if it disagrees with me, because I think that's how in a free society we move forward with the best ideas and with the consensus of the people.
So what I was explained by the board is that in order to bring forward a motion like that, if you want to change or bring a vote,
Yeah.
you have to listen to the interview again because I did that yesterday. But you need to do that a month. You need to give like a month period.
Yeah.
Before a vote. And so apparently Mrs. Benoit also introduced. She asked for a vote on whether we could speed that process.
Yeah.
The vote done last week, and the trustees, she didn't get enough support from the trustees to do that, and that's why they had to wait for a month. And that's why it should be discussed the next meeting.
That's right.
Mrs. Benoit could have brought up that issue a month ago or a few months ago. So.
Yeah, no, of course. In defense of the trustees that were there, maybe they just didn't feel ready. So that's fine. I understand that, and I just hope that doesn't happen again at the next meeting. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have the recording of the meeting. Were you inside or outside during the whole thing?
I was inside.
Okay, I'm trying to find the place where this whole thing happened, where Mrs. Benoit brought up her motion. Was it at the beginning or at the end?
Kind of in the middle. Kind of in the middle.
Okay.
So it was basically a motion to have a vote on her motion. To basically set aside the bylaws that require a month of contemplation on a motion.
I'll watch it again. It's a long.
Yeah.
It's a long. And I was trying to scroll through it and I couldn't find it, but I'll watch it again.
Yeah, it's not the most exciting watch, that's for sure.
But I think I think that's for my questions. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me.
Yeah, Andrienne, I'm really happy that you called me, and I'm really happy that you reached out. And
it's an important issue.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think it's an emotionally charged issue, and I think we have to think about it. Also, sometimes we have to step back because there's so much government money and government force and corporate force being pushed at us to accept this for what it is without really thinking about it critically. And I think all I'm hoping that people do is think about it critically. And is it truly the best thing for the children to fly the flag at all schools? That's the only question I was hoping to bring up.
So where will your children go to school?
So they're going to be homeschooled. They're going to be homeschooled for the month of June. My wife is a retired teacher. We were doing homeschooling last year anyway, so we're just going to jump back on track with that.
And then they will go back to their original.
That's a good question. That remains to be seen. We'll see what happens June 20th at the next Niagara Catholic District School Board meeting. So that remains to be seen yet.
Okay. You can do whatever you want. I'm just curious.
Yeah, right.
There was like another school board for the one that you not have that all its seasons.
No, and unfortunately, all the school boards across Ontario are, by accident or by design, doing the exact same thing. So.
Okay, yeah. I understand your point of view. Thank you so much, and I'll send you the link to the story when it's published. It will be in French.
Okay.
But usually Google Translate works pretty well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Recording.